Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl. I am back playing some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, part 2 of the main Rivals deck. We'll be doing Kite, Shark, and Declan Akaba. I was gonna do this weekend, but I just got a real need to get back into playing some more Yu-Gi-Oh! I posted my new on-camera discussion videos of me doing a new movie review for Split, talking about episode 4 of Loki series. So check those out if you get the chance on my channel. And of course, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Yeah, we're not gonna go into well, I'm not gonna say I'm not certain, because I forgot today's Wednesday, and you wouldn't believe that I thought I had to work today, but I was not scheduled to work today. I was supposed to have gone to work yesterday, but my boss hooked me up and like moved it around so that way I can work today and I won't be in trouble for not coming in yesterday. So now on top of that, I'm just now realizing it's Wednesday, and normally Wednesdays and Thursdays I don't usually post anything. So I'll just do part 2 of this video and get back to Fire Emblem Friday. Anyway, this is a little what's been going on. Anyway, let's go into Kite Tenjo, or Tenjo, or I think it's Tenho. It's supposed to be J is silent, but hard J for Americans. Tenjo. Hassel Light. If you control no monsters, special summon one level 4 or lower Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck. You can only activate one Hassel Light per turn. You cannot normal summon or set during the turn you activate this card. Galactic Cherry. If you control a Galaxy Xyz monster, discard one card, draw 2 cards. Also, if you activate this card, any damage your opponent takes the rest of this turn is halved. You can only activate this once per turn. Galaxy Cyclone. Target one set, spell, or trap card on the field, destroy it. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up, spell, or trap card on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn. Galaxy Expedition. If you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, special summon one level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck in face-up defense position. You can only use this once per turn. Galaxy Storm. Target one face-up Xyz monster on the field that has no Xyz material, destroy that target. Galaxy Wave. Each time you Xyz summon, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Galaxy Zero. Target one Photon or Galaxy monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face-up attack position, and equip it with this card. Cannot attack or activate its effects. If it would be destroyed during the battle phase, you can destroy this card instead. When this card leaves the field, the equipped monster attack becomes 0. You can only use this effect once per turn. Luminous Dragon Ritual. This card is used to ritual summon Paladin of Photon Dragon. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal exactly 4. You can banish this card from your graveyard, banish monsters from your graveyard whose total levels equal exactly 4, and special summon one Paladin of Photon Dragon from your hand after that. This is treated as a special summon. This special summon is treated as a ritual summon. I think Kai is more similar to Seto Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal than Shark was, but a lot of people want to throw Shark in that category too. Overlay Capture. Target one face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls that has Xyz material, and one face-up Xyz monster you control Attach all Xyz materials from the opponent's monster, and if you do, attach this card to your monster as Xyz material. Overlay Regen. Target one face of Xyz monster on the field. Attach this card to it as Xyz material. Photon Booster. Target one level 4 or lower light monster on the field. Except a token. The attack of all monsters currently on the field with its name become 2000 until the end of this turn. Photon Lead. Also summon one level 4 or lower light monster from your hand in face of attack position. Photon Sanctuary. Also summon 2 photon tokens. Thunder type light level 4 with an attack power of 2000, defense 0 in defense position. These tokens cannot attack or be used as synchro material monsters. You cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card except for light monster. Photon Stream of Destruction. If you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, target one card on the field, banish that target. You can only use this effect during your turn unless you control Galaxy Eyes Photon Drop. Photon Trident. Target one face-up photon monster you control until the end phase. It gains 700 attack, and if it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. When it inflicts battle damage to your opponent this turn, you can target one spell or trap card on the field, destroy that target. Photon Veil. Shuffle 3 light monsters from your hand into the deck, then add one level 3 or 1 to 3 level 4 or lower light monsters from your deck to your hand. If you add 2 or more monsters, they must have the same name. Xyz Double Back. During the turn a face-up Xyz monster you control was destroyed. If you control no monsters, target one Xyz monster in your graveyard that was destroyed this turn, and one monster in your graveyard with attack less than or equal to that Xyz monsters. Also summon these targets, but they are destroyed during the end phase. Double Dragon Descent. When an opponent's Xyz monster declares a direct attack, special summon one light dragon type Xyz monster from an extra deck in attack position, and the attacking monster attacks it instead, and you proceed to damage calculation. The attacks becomes equal to the attacking monsters. Also, the effects are negated. You only use this effect once per turn. Luminize. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and one face-up light monster you control gains attack equal to the target's attack until the next end phase. Photon Current. When a face-up light dragon type monster you control is targeted for an attack, the attack target gains attack equal to the attacking monster's attack until the end of the damage step. Tachyon Chaos Hole. When a face-up Galaxy Xyz monster you control is destroyed by a battle with an opponent's attacking monster or by opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, destroy as many face-up cards your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, banish them. During your draw phase, if this card is in your graveyard, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can banish this card, then target one Galaxy Xyz monster in your graveyard, also summon that target. Tachyon Transmigration. If you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, negate the activation of your opponent's spell or trap cards and monster effects activated before this card in this chain, and if you do, shuffle the negated cards on the field into the deck. If you control a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster, you can activate this card from your hand. Wonder Xyz. Immediately after this card resolves, summon one Xyz monster using monsters you control as Xyz material. Materials. Daybreaker. When this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Daybreaker from your hand. Mentioned Wanderer. When a monster is banished by the effect of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and inflict 300 damage to your opponent. You only use this effect once per turn. Galaxy Knight. If you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, you can normal summon this card without tributing. When you do, target one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in your graveyard. If possible, Regardless, this card loses 1000 attack, and if it does, it's also summon that target, if any, face up defense position. The attack decreases last until the end phase. Galaxy Mirror Page. You gain 500 life points for each Galaxy monster in your graveyard. When this card is destroyed and sent from the field to the graveyard after being flipped face up, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Galaxy monster from your deck or graveyard and face down the defense position. Banish it when it leaves the field. Galaxy Soldier. You can send one other light monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you can add one Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Galaxy Soldier once per turn. Galaxy Tyranno. When a Galaxy monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When summoned this way, you can immediately after this effect resolve Xyz summon one Galaxy Xyz monster, losing only Galaxy monsters you control. Galaxy Wizard. Once per turn, you can increase this card's level by 4 until the end phase. You can tribute this card to add one Galaxy card from your deck to your hand, except Galaxy Wizard. Galaxy Eyes Cloud Dragon. You can tribute this card to special summon one Galaxy Eyes monster from your hand or graveyard, except Galaxy Eyes Cloud Dragon. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card is in the graveyard, you can target one of Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control, attach this card to it as an Xyz material. You can only use this effect once per duel. Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. You can special summon this card from your hand by tributing two monsters with 2000 or more attack. During either player's damage step, when this card battles an opponent's monster, you can target the monster this card is battling, banish both the opponent's monster and this card. At the end of the battle phase, return any monsters banished by this effect to the field, and if the other monster was an Xyz monster, this card gains 500 attack for each Xyz material it had when it was banished. Curry Photon. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and pay 2000 life points. You take no battle damage this turn. If this card is in your graveyard, you can send one Photon monster from your hand to the graveyard, except Curry Photon. Add this card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Numeral Hunter. This card is summoned. Return all number Xyz monsters on the field to the extra deck. Neither player can special summon number Xyz monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle with an Xyz monster. This card is unaffected by the effects of Xyz monsters. Photon Caesar. When this card is normal or flip summon, you can special summon one Photon Caesar from your hand or deck. Photon Circle. Any battle damage you take from battles involving this card is halved. Photon Crusher. If this card attacks, it is changed to a defense position at the end of the damage step. Photon Lizard. You can tribute this card, add one level 4 lower Photon monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Photon Slasher. If a face-up Xyz monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. Photon Thrasher. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand while you control no monsters. If you control another monster, this card cannot attack. Photon Wyvern. When this card is normal or flip summon, destroy all set cards your opponent controls. Reverse Buster. This card can only attack face down defense position monsters. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate any spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. If this card attacks at a face down defense position monster at the start of the damage step, you can destroy that face down monster. Paladin of Photon Dragon. You can ritual summon this card with Luminous Dragon Ritual. You can tribute this card, special summon one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand or deck, and this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard. Draw one card. Twin Photon Lizard. Requires 2 Photon monsters. You can tribute this card, special summon from your graveyard both of the fusion material monsters used for the fusion summon of this card. Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. Requires 3 level 8 monsters. You can also Xyz summon this card by using Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control as the Xyz material. Once per turn, you can target up to 2 equipped cards equipped to this card. Attach them to this card as Xyz materials. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, destroy. Xyz materials attached to it. Yeah. Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Requires 3 level 8 monsters. If this card is Xyz summoned using Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as any of its materials, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Detach all Xyz materials from monsters your opponent controls, then this card gains 500 attack for each. Also, it can attack up to that many times during each battle phase. Number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Requires 2 level 8 monsters. Once per battle phase, at the start of your battle phase, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Negate the effects of all other face-up monsters currently on the field. Also, their attack and defense become their original attack and defense. And if you do any of these during the battle phase this turn, each time an opponent's card effect resolves, this card gains 1000 attack till the end of the battle phase. But also it can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Number 10, Illuminite. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, and 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. Number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Requires 2 level 8 monsters. This card attacks or is attacked during damage calculation in either player's turn. You can detach 1 Xyz material from this card once per battle. This card gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters currently on the field times 200 during that damage calculation only. This card is in its own. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as material, you can special summon this card during your second standby phase after activation and double its attack. Any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is half unless it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as the material. Number 95, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. Requires 3 level 9 monsters. You can also Xyz summon this card by using Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control as the Xyz material. When this card is Xyz summoned, you can send 3 dragon type monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Your opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck, and you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. Number C107 Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Requires 3 level 9 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card until the end of this turn. Negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects on the field. If this card has number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon as Xyz material, it gains this effect. You can tribute 2 monsters. This card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And Starliege Lord Galaxion. Requires 2 level 4 photon monsters per turn. You can detach 1 to 2 Xyz materials from this card. Apply this effect depending on the number you detach. The 1 special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand. 2 special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck. Oh. Okay, and the side cards: Message in a Bottle, Galaxy Dragon, Orbital 7, Photon Cerberus, Photon Leo, Photon Pirate, Photon Satellite, and Photon Strike Bouncer. I forgot about Jack Atlas. I'll get him afterwards. No, neglected something. And someone's getting all those butterflies out. Trying to get my excuse moss on the field, thank God. Oof, man. I don't know how Kite does it to get his, of course it's anime. He can pull around with the story of where, in a way, certain cards are drawn, but it's like, come on, man. I nearly survived that one. I knew he had like a second one there, ready to go. Somehow I knew it. Just in case. Three of those? Seriously? We're gonna need that. Thought you was so tough. Had it all under control. Now enough is enough. Gonna take back what you stole. Give it up, cause now I'm back. Press that face down card. Hey. Now I should be able to take on Yuma with this deck. Should be the optimal word. Wow. Let's try this again because that was too quick. I didn't get any good hand. God, I made a mistake. And I lucked out like a mother. This card's in your graveyard. You can target one Galaxy Eyes, exceeds monster you control. That's this. Hey. Dang. If you allow Kite to get his Galaxy Eyes on the field, you are screwed. Okay, now Jack Atlas. The master faster. Okay, harmonic waves. Target one face-up monster on the field. It becomes level 4 until the end phase. Red Dragon Vase or Vase. If you control a Red Dragon Archfiend, draw 2 cards. You cannot normal or special summon monsters the turn you activate this card until the end of your opponent's turn after this card is activated. Yeah, Cockney, slash Australian thing going on with his accent. It's very hard to replicate because some people can do a Cockney accent easily, but mixing Cockney with something else is like, that's a whole nother level. Resident Destruction. Each time a resident monster is sent to the graveyard as a single material, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy that target, destroy this card during your second end phase after activation. Resonator Call. Add 1 Resonator monster from your deck to your hand. Resonator Engine. Target 2 Resonator monsters in your graveyard. Add 1 level 4 monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, return those targets to the deck. Scarlet Security. If you control a Red Dragon Archfiend, destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Changing Destiny. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do, change it to defense position, and if it cannot change its battle position while it is face up on the field. Then your opponent chooses one of these effects. You, the opponent of this card's activator, gains life points equal to half the target's attack, or your opponent, the activator of this card, takes damage equal to half the target's attacks. Crimson Fire. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card that would inflict damage to you while you control a Red Dragon Archfiend, your opponent takes twice the effect damage you would have taken instead. Phoenix Chain. Activate this card by targeting 1 effect monster on the field. Negate the effects of that face-up monster while it's on the field. Also, the face-up monster cannot attack. When it is destroyed, destroy this card. Lineage of Destruction. Activate only during a turn in which you destroyed a defense position monster your opponent controlled. Select 1 level 8 monster you control. During this turn, the selected monster can attack twice. Prideful Roar. During damage calculation, if your monster battles an opponent's monster with a higher attack, pay life points equal to the difference in attack. Your monster gains attack equal to the difference plus 300 during damage calculation only. Red Carpet. If a dragon type single monster on the field, if a dragon type single monster is on the field, target up to 2 Resonator monsters in your graveyard, special summon them. Red Cocoon. Target 1 dragon type single monster you control. Equip this card to it. While it is battling an opponent's monster until the end of the damage step, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can target 1 Red Dragon Archfiend in your graveyard, special summon it. Red Screen. Your opponent's monsters cannot declare attacks. During each of your end phases, you must pay 1,000 life points. This is not optional, or this card is destroyed. You can target 1 level 1 tuna monster in your graveyard, destroy this card, and if you do, special summon that target. Red Dragon Archfiend must be on the field to activate and to resolve this effect. Red Supremacy. Banish 1 Red Dragon Archfiend synchro monster from your graveyard, then target 1 Red Dragon Archfiend synchro monster you control. Its name becomes the banished monster's original name, and replace its effects with the banished monster's original effects. Revival Gift. Select 1 tuna monster from your graveyard and special summon it. Its effects are negated. Special summon 2 Gift Fiend tokens. Fiend type Dark, level 3, attack and defense to 1500, your opponent's side of the field. Face Gate. Each time a monster your opponent controls attacks or is attacked, place 1 gate counter on this card at the end of the damage step. During your main phase, you can send this card to the graveyard, special summon one monster from your hand whose level is less than or equal to the number of gate counters on this card. Synchro Deflector. Activate only when a face-up synchro monster you control is selected as an attack target. Negate the attack and destroy one monster your opponent controls. Tuner Capture. Activate only when your opponent synchro summons a monster. Also summon one tuner monster used for that synchro summon from their graveyard to your side of the field. Archfiend Interceptor. While you control a face-up attack, while you control this face-up attack position card, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Barrier Resonator. During either player's turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and target one tuner monster you control. This turn it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from attacks involving it. Barrier Battle Fader. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, then end the battle phase. If summoned this way, banish it when it leaves the field. Big Piece Golem. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without tribute. Boost Warrior. If you control a face-up tuner monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up defense position. All warrior type monsters you control gain 300 attack. Clock Resonator. Once per turn, this face-up defense position card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Creation Resonator. If you control a level 8 or higher synchro monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Dark Bug. When this card is normal summoned, select and special summon one level 3 tuner monster from your graveyard. The effects of that monster is negated. Dark Resonator. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Dark Tinker. When this card you control is sent to the graveyard, look at the top card of your deck. Return the card to either the top or the bottom of the deck. Flare Resonator. A synchro monster that uses this card as a sync material gains 300 attack. Force Resonator. You can send this face-up card you control to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster you control. If it attacks this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects that targets monsters until the end of the damage step. Lancer Archfiend. Once per turn, when a monster you control declares an attack targeting a defense position monster your opponent controls, you can activate this effect. If you do during this battle, if the attack of the attacking monster is greater than the defense of the defense position monster it battles, inflict the difference as battle damage to your opponent. Mad Archfiend. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. If this face-up attack position card is targeted for an attack, change its defense position. Magic Hole Golem. Once per turn, you can select one face-up monster you control. Its attack is half until the end phase, and it can attack your opponent directly this turn. During the turn you activate this effect, only the selected monster can attack. Majestic Dragon. Cannot be used as a synchro material except for a synchro summon of a majestic monster. Medium Piece Golem. When this card is summoned, if you control a big piece golem, you can special summon one small piece golem from your deck. That monster's effect is negated while it is face up on the field. Ogre of the Scarlet Sorrow. During your opponent's turn, when your opponent declares a second direct attack during the same battle phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. When you do, this card's attack and defense becomes equal to the attack and defense of the first monster that attacked directly this turn. If it is still face up on the field, the turn this card is special summoned with this effect, the opponent cannot select monsters other than this card as an attack target while this card is face up on the field. Power Breaker. If this card is in your possession, it is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effect and sent to the graveyard. Target one face-up spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy that target. If this card attacks, It is changed to defense position at the end of the damage step. Power Giant. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one level 4 or lower monsters from your hand to the graveyard. If you do, decrease this card's level by the level of that monster. If this card attacks or is attacked until the end of the damage step, any effects damage you take becomes 0. Power Invader. Your opponent controls 2 or more monsters. You can normal summon this card without tributing. Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except with Assault Mode activate. If this card attacks, destroy all other monsters other than after damage calculation. When this card is on the field, is destroyed, and you can special summon one Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. Sinister Sprocket. When this card is sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of a dark synchro monster, you can destroy one face-up spell or trap card. Small Piece Golem. When this card is summoned, if you control a big piece golem, you can special summon one medium piece golem from your deck. That monster's effect is negated while it is face up on the field. Strong Wind Dragon. Cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster that has the same effect. This card is tribute summoned by tributing a dragon type monster. It gains attack equal to half the original attack of the tributed monster. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Sword Master. If a warrior type monster you control attacks your opponent's monster and the opponent's monster is not destroyed by battle, at the end of the damage step you can special summon this card from your hand. During battle between this attacking card and a defense position monster whose defense is lower than the attack of this card, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Top Runner. All face-up synchro monsters you control gain 600 attack. Trust Guardian. This card cannot be used as a synchro material monster except for a synchro summon of a level 7 or higher synchro monster. Once per turn, that synchro monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Each time this effect is applied, that synchro monster loses 400 attack and defense at the end of the damage step. Twin Shield Defender. When this card you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can have the current attack of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase. Twin Sword Marauder. Once per battle phase, if this card attacks a defense position monster, it can make a second attack in a row. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. Vice Berserker. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material monster, inflict 2000 damage to the player that synchro summoned, and the synchro monster that used this card as a synchro material monster gains 2000 attack until the end phase. Vice Dragon. Your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters. You can special summon this card from your hand, but its original attack and defense is halved. Multiple Piece Golem. Requires big piece golem and medium piece golem. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, you can return it to the extra deck. Then, if all of the fusion material monsters that were used for the fusion summon of this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon them. Exploder Wing Dragon, or Exploder Dragon Wing. Requires one tuner or one or more non-tuner dragon type monsters. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, you can destroy that monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster had on the field. This card's attack must be greater than or equal to the attack of that monster to activate and to resolve this effect. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Requires one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn during your main phase 1, you can destroy all other face-up attack position monsters on the field. Monsters other than this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Requires one tuner plus one non-tuner dark dragon type synchro monster. During either player's turn, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one tuner monster in your graveyard. Also summon it in defense position. You can only use each effect of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend once per turn. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane requires one tuner and one non-tuner Dark Dragon type single monster to summon. You contribute one monster, then target one Red Dragon Archfiend monster in your graveyard. Also summon it. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon two tuner monsters with the same level, one from your deck and one from your graveyard in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity requires two tuner monsters and one non-tuner Dark Dragon single monster. When this card is single summoned, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or cards your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate cards. Also, cards your opponent controls cannot activate their effects. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this activation. If this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. If this card is in the owner's possession, is destroyed by an opponent's card or by battle or card effect, you can target one level 8 or lower Dark Dragon type single monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Majestic Red Dragon requires Majestic Dragon plus Red Dragon Archfiend plus one non-tuner monster to summon. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. After damage calculation, if this card attacks, destroy all defense position monsters on the field. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. These changes last until the end of this turn. During the end phase, target one Red Dragon Archfiend in your graveyard, return this card from the field to the extra deck, then special summon that target. Red Dragon Archfiend requires one tuner monster and one or more non-tuner monsters. After damage calculation, if this card attacks a defense position monster your opponent controls, destroy all defense position monsters your opponent controls. During the end phase, destroy all other monsters you control that did not declare an attack this turn. This card must be face up on the field to activate and resolve its effects. Red Nova Dragon requires two tuner monsters and one Red Dragon Archfiend. This card gains 500 attack for each tuner monster your opponent controls. This card gains 500 attack for each tuner monster in your graveyard. Cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effects. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can target the attacking monster, banish this card, and if you do, negate the attack. During the next end phase, special summon this banished card by this effect. And Starlight Red Dragon Archfiend requires one tuner monster and one or more non-tuner monsters to summon. This card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend. While it's on the field or in your graveyard, this card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while it is on the field or in your graveyard. Once per turn, you can destroy as many special summon effect monsters on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card's other than this card. Then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed. Of course, he also possessed Trap Eater and Regretful Rebirth and Nightmare Archfiend. Whew. Okay, Jack. Okay. Excuse me. Just in case. Save that. Pot of greed. Can't have Tora Park being used to synchro summon. I'm not trying to have my trap cards negated. Where's my resonators? Shoot. I don't like repeating. I don't want to repeat these matches going forward, but it's just That match wasn't going nowhere. To make him use up his wiretaps. I know he got some. It's not. I think that's wiretap. I was wrong. Here we go. Should have sacrificed that doggone thing. I forgot. I was just. I could have sworn that thing destroys itself if I can't pay anyone. I guess you gotta be. You know, if I had like technically had 1,000 left, so I had to be taken. So. Didn't even think about that. I'm an experienced duelist, but even I mess up sometimes. Probably shouldn't have wasted that trap card, but whatever. Make sure he's kept from using that monster's special ability anyway. There we go. Now, let's move on to Shark. Let's go. Just Shark and Declan after this. Alright, Legendary Ocean. This card's name is treated as Yumi. Reduce the level of all water monsters in both players' hands on the field by 1. All water monsters gain 200 attack and defense. Aqua Jet. Target one face a fish, sea, surfing, or aqua type monster you control. It gains 1000 attack. Call of the Atlanteans. Target 3 level 3 or lower sea surfing type monsters in your graveyard. Supposed to summon all 3 of them You're not supposed to summon any other monsters during the turn you activate this card. Fishing kicks. If you have 3 or more banished fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monsters, target 1 card on the field, banish it. Salvage. Target 2 water monsters with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard. Add those targets to your hand. I have Soul Release in my hand. Surface. Target 1 level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster in your graveyard. Also summon it in face-up defense position. Yumi increases the attack and defense of all fish, sea serpent, thunder, and aqua type monsters by 200 points. Decrease the attack and defense of all machine and power type monsters by 200 points. Aqua Mirror Cycle. Target 1 water monster you control and 2 water monsters in your graveyard. Shuffle the first target into the deck, and if you do, add the second targets to your hand. Bubble Bringer. Level 4 or higher monsters cannot attack directly. During your turn, you can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard to target 2 level 3 or lower water monsters with the same name in your graveyard. It's supposed to summon them. Their effects are negated. Fish Death Charge. Tribute 1 fish type monster to target 1 card on the field. Destroy that target, and if you do, draw 1 card. Fish Rain. When a face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster on the field is banished, also summon 1 level 3 or lower fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster from your hand. Banished monster must be fish, sea serpent, or aqua type even after being banished. Old Fish. When an effect monster's effect activates, shuffle 1 of your banished fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster into the main deck, negate the activation, and destroy it. Poseidon Wave. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do, inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster you control. Okay. Splash Capture. When your opponent's Xyz summons, banish 2 fish type monsters from your graveyard to target that face-up Xyz monster. Take control of that target. Tornado Wall. Activate only while Yumi is on the field. While Yumi is face-up on the field, you take no battle damage from attacking monsters. Destroy this card when Yumi leaves the field. Torrential Reborn. When a face-up water monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect and sent to the graveyard, also summon the monster destroyed and sent from the field to the graveyard at that time. Then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each of those special summon monsters. You can only activate this once per turn. Parental Tribute. When a monster or monsters is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Okay. Have to include some Atlantean stuff. Big Jaws. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked, banish it. Cyber Shark. If you control a water monster, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Deep Sweeper. You can tribute this card, then target 1 spell or chop card on the field, destroy that target. Double Shark. When this card is normal summoned, you can reduce the levels of all level 4 fish type monsters you currently control by 1. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. Eagle Shark. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If you control Panther Shark, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only control 1 Eagle Shark. Fly Fang. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. At the end of the battle phase, if this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, banish this card until your next standby phase. Friller Rapka. When a fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target the attacking monster. Negate the attack. If you do, that target loses 500 attack until the end of the next turn. You can only use this once per turn. Hammer Shark. Once per turn, you can reduce the level of this card by 1. And if you do, special summon one level 3 or lower water monster from your hand. Hyper Ancient Shark Megalodon. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. Jaws Man. Cannot be special summon. If you tribute summon this card, all tribute must be water. This card gains 200 attack for each face-up water monster you control except this card. Metabo Shark. When this card is normal summon, you can target 2 fish type monsters in your graveyard, shuffle those targets into your deck. Needle Sunfish. When this card is sent to the graveyard, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, that target loses 500 attack. Panther Shark. If your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If you control Eagle Shark, you can special summon this card from your hand. Shark Stickers. When a fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card cannot be used for a single material monster. Shocktopus. When this card is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster and sent to the graveyard, you can equip this card to that monster. That monster's attack becomes 0. Also, it cannot change its battle position. Skull Kraken. When this card is normal summon, you can target one face-up spell card your opponent controls. Destroy that target. Once per turn, you can change the battle position of this card. Spear Shark. When this card is normal summon, you can increase the levels of all level 3 fish type monsters you currently control by 1. This card attacks a defense position monster and inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. First, you got the legendary Fisherman. I just want to add it because I love this card. While Yumi is on the field, this card is unaffected by spell effects and cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. And since he's riding a literal shark, I think it's ideal to have it in Shark's deck. I think he would include it. The legendary Fisherman number 3. Cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summoned from your hand by tributing one legendary Fisherman, cannot be special summoned by other ways. When this card is special summoned, you can banish all monsters your opponent controls. Also, this card cannot attack this turn. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, also unaffected by spell or trap card effects. Once per turn, you can return as many of your opponent's banished cards as possible to their graveyard, and if you do, the first battle or effect damage your opponent takes this turn becomes doubled. Tripod Fish. When this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target one face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monster on the field. Increases level by 1. Xyz Remora. You can special summon this card from your hand by detaching 2 Xyz materials from the monsters you control. When you do, you can target 2 level 4 fish type monsters in your graveyard, special summon those targets in face-up defense position. Their effects are negated, they cannot attack or change their battle positions, and cannot be used for Xyz material for an Xyz summon, except for the Xyz summon of a water monster. Bahamut Shark. Requires 2 level 4 water monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Also summon 1 rank 3 or lower water Xyz monster from your extra deck. This card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. Black Ray Lancer. Requires 2 level 3 water monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target 1 face-up monster on the field. Negate the target's effects until the end phase. Number 101, Silent Honor Dark. Requires 2 level 4 monsters. You can detach 2 Xyz materials from this card, then target 1 special summon monster on your opponent controls in face-up attack position. Attach it to this card as a face-up Xyz material. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this face-up card will be destroyed, you can attach one Xyz material from this card instead. Got a Leviathan Dragon too. This is his deck headliner. Number 32, Shark Drake. Requires 3 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, when this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can attach one Xyz material from this card. Special summon that destroyed monster to your opponent's side of the field in an attack position. Also, it loses 1000 attack. And if you do summon this way, this card can make a second attack during this battle phase. Number 37, Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. Requires 2 level 4 water monsters. When any player's monster declares an attack, you can attach one Xyz material from this card. All monsters your opponent currently controls loses 1000 attack until the end of this turn. When this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one other monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You're going to use this effect once per turn. Number 47, Nightmare Shark. Requires 2 level 3 monsters. When this card is special summoned, you can attach one level 3 water monster from your hand or your side of the field to the graveyard as Xyz material. Once per turn, you can attach one Xyz material from this card, then target one water monster you control. This turn, that monster can attack your opponent directly. Also, other monsters cannot attack. Number 73, Abyss Splash. Requires 2 level 5 monsters. Once per turn during the player's turn, you can attach one Xyz material from this card, double this card's attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Also, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent this turn is halved. Number C1. Yeah, those later. I'm really gonna use those. Number C32, Shark Drake Vice. Requires 4 level 4 water monsters to summon. You can also Xyz summon this card by using Shark Drake you control as the Xyz material. During the player's turn, if you have 1000 life points or less, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, advance one monster from your graveyard, and target one face-up monster on the field. That target's attack and defense becomes 0 until the end of this turn. Number C73, Abyss Supra Splash. Requires 3 level 6 monsters. If a monster you control battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation in the player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card once per battle. Your battling monster gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster it is battling during that battle calculation or damage calculation only. If this card has Abyss Splash as Xyz material, it gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Cyber Shark. Requires 3 or more, max 5 level 3 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card. Place one shark counter on this card. If this card attacks or is attacked, it gains 1000 attack for each shark counter on it during the damage step only. And Shark Fortress. Requires 2 level 5 monsters. Your opponent cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one face-up monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Shark also possess different dimension Deep Sea Trench, rank up magic 7th one, Please Gift, Pulse Urchin, Eroka, his sister's card. His sister's card, Starfish, and Xyz Burying Hope. Okay, I don't get many wins with Shark's deck. But we're gonna just give it a shot anyway. Way up in the middle. But choke this dude out. Now, since everything's opened back up and everything seems relatively or definitely getting there more so now of getting back to normal, I want to like well, I will in October once at least end of October I'll be going to Vegas to hang out, but I was about to say that I remember a couple of years back I had some extra spending cash and decided to rent myself a nice little spot. This little, not like a fancy hotel, but just like a you know, cool motel spot near my place. Not that far, but far enough where I just want to just get away. Nice little hotel spot, and spent like just like a decent amount of money for a 3-night stay. Of course, at the time I was like, still I didn't have enough sick time to use. Enough sick time to use to just not have to worry about coming back to work. But man, I tell you, it's one of those moments when you just want to get away from it all. And I really want that again. But I'll just have to wait for that. But the friend I was with at that time, was a kind of sort of friend still, but me and her not really like speaking like that, or at least it's complicated. You know, we check in on each other every once in a while, but we don't just talk like that like every day like we used to. Because like I was feeling her at the time, not so much now, but she was someone that I thought like, oh, you know, we hang out almost like every day, almost damn near everything with each other. I just thought, okay, me and her see like in like to get in a kind of relationship. Of course, like she didn't seem like that, but it didn't stop her from like, because like no joke, even prior before that, like I said, we like she wasn't like, she's still in my neighborhood, like just like I live in an apartment complex, and she lives in an apartment complex that's like a different complex that's right next to mine. So it's like a you know, not that much of a walk away. And so she's been like at least not as long as I have, but definitely more over a decade at this point. Well, in between that time she moved into her own spot when she had like her own dude. But yeah, me and her, you know, we're going to all these clubs, and I went to like a drag show she she checked out, but no one wanted to go with her, so she asked me. I was like, you know, whatever, I'll go. It was downtown, like I didn't really care. It was a nice show, by the way, very cool. But it's like not, and don't get me wrong, just because like, you know, a guy, you know, does this or that for a girl doesn't mean like she owes him anything. But that being said, to be fair, it's like, you know, you bum rush your way practically on my own little getaway that I was planning for myself. Now, granted, I did tell her, but you know, I should have known she would just like find a way to just come and drag herself along with, you know, like, oh, you're not gonna ask me to come with you? And it's like, oh, maybe once we get things moving, when I could bring her along and get all the romantic stuff set up and like, ooh, that's, you know, maybe something might pop. But oh no. Not only she was expecting to go out to some kind of concert to meet some rapper or whatever, I don't even know who he was, I can't even remember, don't even matter. But wouldn't even matter artifacts. But at any rate, probably best to get our strongest monster on the field regardless. Just in case. But yeah, so the spot was like, you know, very nice. It has like its own little jacuzzi area and what have you, right? Along with like a walk-in shower, nice bed, and like I even like, you know, splurged a little extra for like, you know, champagne and chocolate covered strawberries. And you know, of course, I order a pizza and everything like that eventually, but you know, she got a nasty temper too. It's like, you know, I don't know how long her butt was taking. Like I literally like ordered a pizza, like luckily it was like only, you know, 30 minutes to an hour before she eventually got back. But she's chilling, having a good time, because like, hey, you know, it's not her dime she's spending. But I'm like, bro, like I said, like just because a girl do something doesn't mean she owes a guy anything. But like, you go a mile for somebody like that, I don't know. You expect some, I mean, like, You expect something, you know. Because see, like, no joke, she didn't want me, like, she wanted me like make sure wipe down like the indoor jacuzzi, because she liked to do that when she goes places because she doesn't trust the cleaning people behind her, which is understandable. So I was like, okay, my expectations is kind of like high, but it's just me and her and everything like that. She pretty much like on vacation on my dime. Now, we're like, I'm, you know, making sure that the jacuzzi is like set up and everything like that. Everything looks good, what have you. But as soon as like the jacuzzi's ready, I have like Netflix on and everything like that. And of course, she doesn't want me to see her. She like, you know, she like to, you know, dress all kinds of freaking ways. Not all kinds of freaking ways, but I'm just saying, like, when she's like, she's usually like in her little robe, or, you know, just dressing like, you know, like half naked and stuff like that, just like shoot, like she's like ready to go kind of situation. Like, dang. And like, literally, I have to keep my boxes on while I'm like, matter of fact, now I'm thinking about how messed up that is. It's like, you know, like, I spending this money on this sucker, I'm getting freaking naked in this jacuzzi, and you just freaking deal with it. But it's just wild to me. But like, I'm being like a nice guy about it and be courteous and everything like that, because, you know, I don't want to make her uncomfortable and everything like that. So I hop in the jacuzzi with my freaking boxes on, for the love of God. Never get my, you know, Shark Drake summon. Like, you'd be surprised how little I summon Shark Drake at all. I require 3 level 4s. So of course she's looking good as she wants to be, especially like she's like negative jacuzzi and everything like that. And I still gotta go to work, of course. Yeah, I'm still going to work, of course, you know, having to get up early because I'm like working at a call center. This is way before the pandemic. I had to get a Crocodile just to order myself a lift ride to go there. And plus, you know, when I, you know, at my end of the workday, you know, getting a lift right back, she's like, no joke, like curled up in like a little bath towel, knocked out with like a wine glass in her head, in her hand, holding on to dear life. And usually have to pry that sucker right off, you know, out of her hand. I was about to break this sucker. So yeah, I spent the entire weekend not getting any. I could have just gone by myself. If that was the case. Because then this is like that just like deteriorated the friendship, you know. That just like that was definitely like there's been other tipping points, but that was like a major tipping point, you know, from that moment moving forward. Okay, let's go with Declan. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't really doing that well with Shark anyway. Okay, Declan Akaba, last one with the Triple D deck. This dude was sick. I gotta say, like Arc 5 is not exactly, well, Arc 5 North Zexel is not exactly my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh seasons. It's very low tier. There's some stuff about them I do like, but in Arc 5, Declan was a badass. It was like damn near scary. The fact that he was able to synchro, fusion, and XC summon and pendulum summon all in once in like a single turn. I was like, holy crap, this dude can give Kaiba a run for his money. Dark contract with the gate. During your main phase, you can add one DD monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Dark Contract with the gate once per turn. Once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. Dark Contract with the Swamp King. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one Fiend type fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or your side of the field as fusion materials. You only use this effect once per turn. If you summon a DD fusion monster this way, you can also bounce monsters from your graveyard as fusion materials. Once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. Different damage. Oh yeah, emergency provisions. I need like stuff to increase my life points. Cloud of Riches. Shuffle 3 pendulum monsters into the deck from your graveyard and or face up from your extra deck, then draw 2 cards. You only activate this once per turn. You cannot special summon the turn you activate this card except by pendulum summoning. A spell absorption. Each time a spell card is activated, gain 500 life points immediately after it resolves. Just need something to increase my life points because I got a lot of these cards. The DD cards do cost you some life points, so increasing your life points is imperative to afford the cost. Contract Laundering. Destroy as many dark contract cards in your spell and chop card zone as possible, and if you do, draw the same number of cards you destroyed, then gain 1000 life points for each card you drew with this effect. Triple D Contract Change. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, activate one of these effects. Banish one Triple D monster from your graveyard, and if you do, the attacking monster loses attack equal to the banished monster's attack. Or add one level 4 or lower Double D pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Triple D Human Resources. Shuffle 3 cards into the deck, any combination of Double D monsters in your hand, field, or graveyard, and or Double D cards in your pendulum zone. Then you can add 2 Double D monsters from your deck to your hand. Matter of fact, add 3 of these. These contract laundering. Yeah, that way it's all even. Okay. Contract with errors. Once per turn, if you control a Double D monster, you can negate all chop card effects on the field other than this card for the rest of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. Once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. Dark contract with the Witch. You can send 1 Double D or Dark contract card from your hand to the graveyard and target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn. All fiend type monsters you control gain 1000 attack during your opponent's turn only. Once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. Got Life Absorbing Machine. During your standby phase, gain life points equal to half the total life points you paid during your last turn. Very useful when, especially when you got like cards like cards like these where it constantly takes life points from you. At the very least, you can gain those back in some manner. Of course, I got Draining Shield that boosted a bit too, and Solemn Wishes. Okay, it's not that many support cards from the Double D, Triple D archetype. That's why I had to triple the monsters here. Don't even have the Double D, Triple D synchro monsters, unfortunately. It's not included in this deck. That's why I needed, like, they should have updated this game on all platforms. Since everything is cross-gen, that should be the case by this point. So I can update this, a lot of these decks, so I can this deck, Destiny Hero deck, there's a lot of new supports for that. Want to make some major updates. Double D Baphomet. Once per turn, you can target 1 Double D monster you control that has a level except Baphomet and declare a level from 1 to 8. It becomes that level until the end of this turn. Also, you cannot special summon a monster for the rest of this turn except Double D monsters. Double D Necro Slime. If this card is in your graveyard, you can fusion summon 1 Triple D fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your graveyard, including this card. You can only use this effect of Double D Necro Slime once per turn. Double D Pandora. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or when this card is in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can use and send to the graveyard. You control no cards, you can draw 2 cards. Double D Swirl Slime. If this card is in your hand, you can fusion summon 1 Triple D fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand as fusion materials, including this card. You can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon 1 Double D monster from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Triple D Dragon King. If this card is in your hand, you can tribute 1 Dragon type monster and 1 Fiend type monster from your hand and or side of the field, plus summon this card. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card. This card gains 500 attack. Then you can destroy 1 spoiled chop card on the field. This card gains this attack increase lasts until the end of this turn. Double D Savant Gallier. During either player's turn, you can discard this card, then target 1 Double D or Dark Contract card you control, return it to the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Pendulum effect. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except Double D monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's maximum pendulum scale to 2. This card's pendulum scale to 2, max 10, and destroy all monsters you control with a level less than or equal to the pendulum scale. Double D Savant Kepler. If this card is normal or a special summon, you can activate one of these effects. You can use this effect of once per turn. Target one double D card you control, return it to the hand, or add one dark contract from your deck to your hand. Pendulum effect. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except double D monsters. This effect cannot be negated. Once per turn during your standby phase, reduce this card's pendulum scale by 2, minimum of 1. Then destroy all monsters you control with a level greater than or equal to the scale. Triple D Oblivion King Abyss. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target one Triple D monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect of Triple D Abyss once per turn. Once per turn, you can tribute one other double D monster, then target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. Pendulum effect. If you special summon a double D monster except during the damage step, you can target one double D monster in your graveyard. Any battle damage your opponent takes becomes half for the rest of this turn. Also special summon that monster, and if you do, take 1000 damage. You only use this once per turn. Triple D Rebel King Leonidas. A lot of Greek ethos surrounding this deck. Pandora, Leonidas. When you take effect damage during your damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, gain life points equal to the damage you took. You take no effect damage. When you take pendulum effect, when you take effect damage, except during the damage step, you can destroy this card. If you do, an effect that would inflict damage to the player this turn increases their life points by the same amount instead. Triple D Oracle King Diarch. Requires 2 Triple D monsters to summon. 2 double D monsters. Any effect that will inflict damage to you makes you gain life points instead. Triple D Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. Requires 2 Triple D monsters. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving this card, you can target other double D or dark contract card you control, turn it to the hand. If you do, equip one face-up monster your opponent controls to this card, except the battling monster. This card gains attack equal to the combined original attack of the monsters equipped to it by this effect. Triple D Dual Dawn King Kali Yuga. Requires 2 level 8 double D monsters to summon. After this card is XC summoned, for the rest of this turn, other cards and their effects cannot be activated on the field, and other cards' effects on the field are negated. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. You can detach one Xyz material from this card, then target one dark contract spell or trap card in your graveyard, set that target. Triple D Marksman King Tail. Requires 2 level 5 monsters. You can also Xyz summon this card by using rank 4 Triple D Xyz monster you control as Xyz material. Once per turn during either player's turn, if you took any effect damage this turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card and target one face-up monster on the field. Loses 1000 attack and defense, and if it does, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send one double D or dark contract card from your deck to your graveyard. And Triple D Wave King Caesar. Requires 2 level 4 Fiend type monsters to summon. During either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card. At the end of the battle phase, special summon from your graveyard as many monsters destroyed this turn as possible. During the next standby phase, take 1000 damage for each monster summoned by this effect. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one dark contract card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Okay. Check out my Declan video on my YouTube channel. because I do remember managing to summon all the, you know, at least one Xyz, one fusion, and using the pendulum summoning all at once in a turn. It's not hard, you know, relatively. Dark Rebellion. I love Dark Rebellion. Get him out of here. Set the pendulum scale. Okay, once returned, you monster. Yeah, this deck, unless you play this like constantly, it requires you to re-look at these things and know exactly what you're doing. Okay. Case. I don't want to use my contract. I got Mirror Force, so if I use the effect, it won't work. Because I do need that other magic card to summon my triple Ds. Yeah, well, it's going to end it here. That took longer than necessary. But you know, you get the basic idea. So those are all the rival decks. Some point next week I'll do like the best friend deck. So I'm gonna rest up. I wanna, you know, get some rest. I'm gonna head to the gym tomorrow, and, like, you know, and just unwind a bit. This is a long day, and I just really wanted to get this out of my system and complete it this week. So yeah, so look forward to the best friend deck, and I'll hopefully be wrapping up Fire Emblem pretty soon. So take care, everybody. Hope you have a great night, or have a great day if you're watching this later period. So take care, and I'll see you all soon.